Okay. Bonjour à tous. Bienvenue au briefing pour cette première session plénière du mois d'octobre, donc qui se tiendra à Strasbourg du 6 au 9 octobre. I'll start with two important visits. The members of the parliament will welcome two prime ministers next week in the chamber, starting with Luxembourg's Prime Minister Luc Frieden. This will be part of the series This is Europe, a series of debates, and it will take place on Tuesday at 10:30. You may remember that Parliament launched this series of debate with European leaders during the last legislature, and the purpose was to discuss the future of the Union. We already had 14 heads of state or government participating, and Mr. Frieden is the first leader to do so during this term. So the second visit is on Wednesday at noon. There is a formal sitting where members will welcome the Prime Minister of Greenland, Jens Frederik Nielsen, who took office in April 2025. This visit comes on the back of last month's visits of several committees, Fisheries and Security and Defence Committee that were in Greenland in the past weeks. Pour suivre, il est évident au vu des développements restants que le domaine des affaires étrangères et de la sécurité sera présent à l'agenda, et notamment les récentes violations de l'espace aérien européen et des infrastructures et de la question des infrastructures critiques aussi par la Russie, en Pologne, en Estonie, au Danemark. Donc, c'est mercredi que les députés débattront de ce sujet avec des représentants de la présidence danoise, mais aussi du Conseil, mais aussi de la Commission. Et une résolution sera votée jeudi sur ce sujet. Autre point d'attention, le Moyen-Orient, évidemment, qui sera présent avec un débat mardi après-midi où les députés et les représentants du Conseil et de la Commission débattront du rôle de l'Union européenne dans les efforts de paix pour Gaza et pour mener à bien la solution à deux États. Le mois dernier, le Parlement a adopté une résolution sur la situation à Gaza, s'alarmant de la catastrophe humanitaire qui sévit sur place, appelant à mener à bien la solution à deux États, à la libération immédiate et inconditionnelle des otages détenus et à la démilitarisation du Hamas. Donc, je passe à un autre sujet important pour la session. Another important chapter will be dedicated to simplification and boosting competitiveness. In this dimension, Parliament was the first to call for simplification and is moving forward without delay. Premièrement, mardi après-midi, il sera question de la simplification des règles agricoles européennes et des moyens de renforcer la position des agriculteurs dans la chaîne d'approvisionnement alimentaire. C'est un débat conjoint, donc mardi après-midi. L'objectif est de répondre aux difficultés auxquelles les agriculteurs sont confrontés au cours des dernières années, et les modifications proposées ont pour objectif de réduire les formalités administratives pour les agriculteurs, de simplifier la réglementation. Des modifications sont aussi apportées à la réglementation sur l'organisation commune des marchés agricoles pour renforcer la position des agriculteurs dans la chaîne d'approvisionnement alimentaire, et l'objectif est ainsi la stabilisation de leurs revenus. Donc les votes sur ces deux textes auront lieu mercredi. Second topic in the same section on competitiveness and simplification. 1 year after the publication of Mario Draghi's report, members will debate on Tuesday morning, on the start of the morning, with representatives of the Council and the Commission on the ways to complete a fully integrated single market and strengthen it in order to promote economic growth. So very different topics, different aspects that will be discussed: administrative burdens, reinforcement of existing rules, enforcement of these rules, combating fraud, ensuring mutual recognition of professional qualifications. All topics are likely to be raised on, these topics are likely to be raised on Tuesday morning. A third aspect is members will discuss on Wednesday and vote on Thursday their proposal calling for reform of the EU tax architecture. The idea here is to boost competitiveness while continuing to address tax avoidance and evasion, and to support innovation, reduce the cost of fiscal compliance while making it easier for government to administer and collect taxes. So Parliament proposal in this field will feed into the ongoing work on legislative simplification in the tax area. And in this field, there's a dedicated Commission proposal that is expected early 2026. Another debate in another field then on digital sovereignty will underline and is scheduled for Wednesday with representatives again of the Commission and the Council to focus on the importance of building a secure and autonomous digital economy, to look at the implementation of the existing European digital regulations, and at the ways to reduce technological dependency on non-European players. So this is Wednesday afternoon. Another element that in the particular context of the awful attack in Manchester yesterday, I want to draw your attention on. It's on Tuesday afternoon's debate, where members will discuss with the Commission the rise of anti-Semitism in Europe, as well as possible solutions. Et je conclurai ce tour en mentionnant évidemment le débat conjoint lundi sur 2 motions de censure à l'encontre de la Commission européenne. Les 2 motions recevables seront présentées lundi et ensuite seront suivies par une intervention de la présidente de la Commission européenne, Ursula von der Leyen, et d'une intervention ensuite des représentants des groupes politiques. 2 votes séparés par appel nominal auront lieu jeudi. Je conclus ici et je pense que je donne la parole à Daniel Koester pour le PPE, mais qui est en ligne cette fois-ci. Daniel? Yes.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so good morning, everybody. First, I would like to apologize that I'm not physically in the room because the EPP has been, for the last 3 days, meeting in Poland, in Gdańsk, where we have been discussing defense, transatlantic relations, and the MFF, notably in the last couple of days. That's why I'm connecting by video. When it comes to the plenary agenda next week, there are 3 things which I would like to highlight on behalf of the EPP group. First of all, our priority is, for obvious reasons, the debate on airspace violations in the last couple of days and weeks. The EPP group is, of course, in favor of a comprehensive package to react to the airspace violations we have been seeing. We are in favor of that, what is now being called a drone wall. This should happen as soon as possible. We are unhappy about the lack of progress in the last couple of weeks. And of course, an open question where we would like to see progress is also how such a plan can be backed by serious EU financing. This debate takes place on Wednesday, as we heard. The other topic important for us, which I would like to highlight, is the debate on Tuesday and the vote on Wednesday about the simplification of the common agricultural policy. You know that the EPP has been pushing for a lot of to reduce bureaucracy and to cut red tape, and that what is being voted by the plenary now is the agricultural omnibus, the big package to reduce bureaucracy in the field of agriculture. So we support this. We are happy about this. We have been championing this this simplification, but we are also, the EPP is also irritated by the mixed signals the European Commission has been sending to farmers over the last couple of weeks and months. On the one hand side, we promise simplification, we do cut red tape, but in the same time, the European Commission plans to pull out the rug from under the agricultural policy when it comes to the MFF, the long-term EU budget. The EPP is in favor of the simplification, and we will do anything to simplify the agricultural policy further. This was the second topic. The third topic is, of course, our digital sovereignty. You saw that we have on Wednesday afternoon a debate on the plenary agenda where we want to defend Europe's digital rules. And by promoting our digital rules, which are now in place for a while, we are not only defending our sovereignty, but we set global standards. And the EPP would like to have and to continue to have these rules in place and to develop them further. They are not up for negotiation. These are the 3 topics which I wanted to highlight in particular. There are many other topics. If you go to our website and look for the week ahead, you see other topics which we do highlight. And last but not least, I would like to mention that our chairman, EPP Group Chairman Manfred Weber, is going to have his press conference on Wednesday, this time a slightly different time slot. It is going to be at 9:30 on Tuesday morning, and you are all invited.
Thank you, Daniel. We have now Uta Tutlias for the Socialists and Democrats.
Thanks a lot, Delphine, and hello to everybody in the room and of course online. Very happy to be with you today. And like my colleague Daniel, also our group has been on the road. This week I've just come back from Croatia, Opatija. And in Croatia we focused our work this week on social rights and fair working conditions, and have adopted the so-called Opatija Declaration, which you can, of course, find online, and I'm happy to share with you. Standing up for workers' rights and championing fair, green, and digital transitions. And in this context, we are very pleased to have many important social files and topics on the agenda this plenary. I won't go in detail. I'm happy to go in detail with you, of course, later. This relates, on the one hand, to the establishment and functioning of European Works Councils, very important, of course, in our fight for social rights and fair workers' rights. Then, of course, the World Mental Health Day, which we are also going to celebrate on, I think, 10th of October, when it is even more difficult to cope with everyday life due to social consequences, which are getting more difficult. Of course, world mental health is becoming an even greater importance every day. Then we have two important other files, the Second World Summit for Social Development and the Declaration of Principles for a Gender Equal Society. So we will look at these files in a comprehensive and detailed manner this week. We have, of course, as it was said, all followed the Copenhagen summit and also asked our group that we have the discussion and vote on the resolution on the violation of EU airspace and threats to critical infrastructure. And for us, it is clear that as Russian violations of EU member states' airspace are becoming bolder and more frequent, we need to understand that these acts of hybrid warfare are not isolated events, but rather elements of a broader strategy of testing our collective resolve and resilience and readiness. We must be prepared to counter these threats all over the EU by boosting our capabilities and enhancing our resilience, with particular focus, of course, on those member states that immediately border Russia and Belarus. We must develop a comprehensive set of detection and interception capabilities, ranging from surveillance and electronic warfare to kinetic means. Of course, in all of this, EU and NATO cooperation is key, and the NATO, the cornerstone of our action. I would also like to say a few words on digital. And of course, we are very happy and pushed for it to have the debate on promoting EU digital rules, protecting our sovereignty on the agenda. This is key for our sovereignty and, of course, our resilience. Trump and the American tech companies cannot threaten EU lawmaking and tell us which rules we should keep or cancel. We have been at the forefront, also with several of our rapporteurs involved, of the DSA, the DMA, and the AI Act. These are EU laws that we have adopted to protect our citizens and to make the digital sector fairer. So we have to make sure that these are kept. And then let me just say that, of course, it is important to have the debate on the Middle East and the launch peace process with the two-state solution on the agenda. This is, of course, a key topic that affects all of us here and them over there. Our group president, Irache García Pérez, will speak on this topic, And we are very clear when it comes to our position. So, of course, I'm happy to also take questions on that from you. And to conclude, not to make it too long, our group president will have her press conference on Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Uta. Alonso de Mendoza, PFE.
Thank you, Delphine. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Next week in Strasbourg, the most important issue will, of course, be the motion of censure against Ursula von der Leyen. This is the central point, the motion of censure from Patriots for Europe. Why? Because her Green Deal has failed. It's destroying agriculture, it's destroying industry, it has raised energy prices, families pay more, companies close, farmers suffer, and this is a failure. Because of her scandals, everybody knows, Pfizer-gate, secret messages, hidden negotiations, no transparency, no honesty, no trust. Because of her trade deals like Mercosur, which hurt Europe and hurt our people, open borders, and so on. Patriots for Europe believe that her presidency is exhausted. Everybody can see it. Nothing gets better under her leadership. We see a lot of propaganda, but no results. Nothing real, only propaganda. We will also follow the debate on immunity for Peter Magyar and Ilaria Salis. These people face serious charges, real charges, decided by independent courts. If this parliament gives them immunity, the message is very dangerous. Very dangerous for justice and very dangerous for democracy. It's against the rule of law, it's against the judicial independence, and it's against the sovereignty of member states. Patriots for Europe also support ending the ban on combustion engine cars. The ban is one of the most destructive measures in recent years. It attacks the very engine of European industry, the car industry. And we need to protect jobs and we need to protect industry again. We will watch the debate on the common agricultural policy. We will also speak about the rise of anti-Semitism in Europe. Next week is the sad anniversary of the October 7 attacks of Hamas against Israel. Horrible attacks that we must never forget. And let me add one more point. In the last session, this parliament refused a minute of silence for Charlie Kirk, murdered for his voice and his ideas. This was a very sad moment. This was a lost chance to defend free speech and open debate. And we have to warn again. The so-called cordon sanitaire, the harassment, the hyperbole, the nasty labels against us and against people who we represent have sometimes very sad consequences. Finally, we will have the press conference next week with President Bardella and Vice President Kinga Gál on Tuesday at 2:30 p.m. That's it. Thank you very much. See you next week in Strasbourg.
Thank you, Alonso. We have Stephen Jones joining us remotely. Stephen, you can speak.
Thank you. Good morning, Delphine, and good morning, everyone. I'm in Sofia in Bulgaria, where our group has been meeting this week. And you may be aware that an ECR-affiliated party, Ima Takav Narod, is a part of the Bulgarian coalition government and has contributed greatly to stabilizing the Bulgarian government in recent months. And we've had a successful meeting. So next week, a key debate for us will be the topical debate that we proposed on the auto industry, Europe's automotive future, and reversing the ban on internal combustion engines for cars. We called it automotive future because we believe the car industry, the auto industry, has a future in Europe, should have a future in Europe, but is unlikely to have a viable, sustainable future in Europe if this tide of overregulation and job-destroying law continues from the Commission. So this is going to be at the heart of our approach to this debate on Wednesday afternoon. And we expect broad support from other groups, whether it's in terms of driving the export sector or fostering innovation and competitiveness, or on the other side, protecting the vulnerable communities all across Europe that depend on a thriving and successful auto sector and securing those high-skilled jobs as well. So that will be one of the key issues for the ECR group next week. As was mentioned by Alonso, we're very much keeping an eye on the vote taking place on the immunity of Ilaria Salis. She is accused of very serious offences, and these offences predated her election as a member of Parliament, and it is completely wrong that Parliament should be at risk of instrumentalisation as judge and jury in these cases. It is right that she should be subject to due process like the citizens that elect her and other members of the House. There's the issue of the visa suspension mechanism that we follow quite closely. This relates to the criteria under which the European Union can suspend agreements with third countries that allow their nationals to come into the European Union with a visa waiver in the Schengen area. And this has been abused for too long, and it has been open to abuse. We have a shockingly high figure of illegal migrants that use that route, that legitimate route, and overstay, and also asylum complaints, claims rather. And of course, the whole purpose of such agreements is that these agreements do not foresee a great number of asylum applications coming from nationals from those countries. So we're very happy that the file has been brought back by the committee to a position much closer to what the Council has originally wanted to propose as well. And we look forward to that vote taking place. We just feel that golden passport schemes in particular cannot be a backdoor into the EU, and particularly cannot be a backdoor for states that are hostile to the European Union's values for their nationals to gain access to the European Union unduly. Foreign affairs, well, as has been mentioned, there is the debate on Gaza. We welcome the peace proposal by the United States, which is supported by key Arab states as well. And it's incumbent upon Hamas now to respond and to bring the hostages home 2 years after that terrible attack on October the 7th, 2023. We'll also be looking at the debate on Wednesday, taking part in that, on Russian violations of EU member states' airspace, which is a serious issue and underlines the hybrid nature of the threat that the European Union faces from Russia. I would draw your attention to the contributions we'll make to that debate, but also to the contribution that Adam Bielan, our Foreign Affairs spokesman, made in the debate that was added at the last moment to the previous plenary session, where he talked about the importance of not only talking about values, but being ready to defend them. And that lies at the heart of our approach to broader European Union policy on security and defence in general. One more issue, as Delphine was talking about at the beginning, Alonso also mentioned it, this Commission statement on the rise of anti-Semitism. We are saddened, shocked by the terrible terrorist attack in Manchester yesterday, and condemn that and send our condolences to all those affected by it, and wish to be at the heart of the European Union redoubling its efforts to tackle the scourge of anti-Semitism across Europe. So, with that, we look forward to seeing you at 10:20 on Tuesday morning for our press conference with our co-chairs Nicola Procaccini and Patrick Yaki. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephen. And we have Vincent Stuur for Renew.
Morning, everyone. Morning, Delphine. You do get the feeling, looking at next week's plenary, that while the world around us is on fire, some people, both on the left and the right, also in this House, are just going through the motions. Because it's not electric cars or NGOs or clean energy or trade agreements that are killing Europe, The real risk is political. It's a lack of unity, a lack of reform, a lack of focus, and a lust for self-harm that we've seen also today, and hopefully we'll see more of. Renew Europe will not play that bi-monthly game. We are at risk of degrading an instrument that we might need in much more serious circumstances. This Parliament has other things to do. We as a group have just come back from our annual group mission, this time to Estonia, where amongst other things we visited the border with Russia at Narva, where Europe begins, and precisely at the moment where you can also see how Europe ends. We see now today on a daily basis violations of our airspace. They've been mentioned already. It's hard to keep track of them. Even this morning there was 15 drones spotted in the east of Belgium over a military base, airport in Munich being closed down. It focuses the mind wonderfully on the main debate next week, which is the one on Russia. You would expect to hear even more from this also from other parties. Every time our borders are violated by people, they go apeshit, and now it is actually weapons going in, airplanes, drones, missiles. This is what we need to focus on for next week. In Estonia, we propose a delegation as a group that commits us to campaign for a European Sky Shield protecting European as well as Ukrainian citizens from drones, a European intelligence platform that gathers the information and shares it better than has been the case so far. We need educational programs to really commit and support citizens in defending democracy and really having an eye open for disinformation, something that from our internal polling also shows that people really do care of, but have a sense that they are not always equipped to deal with it. We need enhanced investment for military mobility, and in short, we need a real European defence union, which at this point we're not even close to having, and every day we see more how we actually need it. As always with EU borders, the problems are not financial or technical, they're a question of political solidarity. Are we united in facing up to this awesome threat? So next week, the debate on Wednesday, the resolution on the united response to recent Russian violations of EU airspace and critical infrastructure is the one to keep an eye open for. Let's not get distracted by the sideshow. Our President, Valérie Ayé, will speak in a debate on Wednesday, as well as our one of our Estonian MEPs, Urmas Paet, who's holding the pen on the resolution, and the President will also be open to your questions next Tuesday at 10:40 for the usual press conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Vincent. Simon, for the Greens.
Morning, colleagues. A lot has been said already, so I'll try to keep it brief and just draw your attention to three points. First of all, on Israel's war in Gaza, we welcome the debate next Tuesday on the EU supporting the two-state solution. But we'd like to highlight that we've also now requested a debate on the illegal interception of the humanitarian flotilla by Israeli forces in the early hours of yesterday morning, and the kidnapping of volunteers, including 4 members of the European Parliament, including our member Benedetta Scuderi. This was, of course, a grave violation of international law, and humanitarian missions should not be a military target. Together with the S&D and the Left today, we have a letter to the Council and Commission Presidents calling them to make an immediate and strong response, including publicly condemning Israel's interception of the flotilla, demanding free passage for the remaining boats of the flotilla, and reiterating our demands made in the Parliament's resolution last month, including the need for humanitarian aid to flow freely to reach the desperate people in Gaza. Secondly, I draw your attention, well, we've already discussed this vote on the position of farmers in the supply chain. That vote is Wednesday. The proposal aims to improve farmers' incomes by guaranteeing written contracts as default and proposing mechanisms for better remuneration for farmers. This is something the Greens fully support. We've been calling for it for a very long time. We want farmers to succeed in Europe, not to be forced to sell their produce below the cost of production and have a stronger bargaining hand throughout the supply chain. And it's high time all political groups take this seriously. That's why it's a bit ridiculous, for want of a better word, that EPP have included language in an attempt to restrict the use of meat-like and meat-related terms of vegetarian and vegan alternatives. This is the infamous banning of the veggie burger. For the record, it's a red herring. It's out of scope from this report, but it does risk potentially scuppering the whole thing. It has nothing to do with helping farmers build better livelihoods. We've even had big companies, including very big meat companies from Germany and elsewhere, with vegan and vegetarian alternative products that are in some cases bigger revenue streams for those meat companies, saying it's insane to do this. All consumer groups are against it. We think consumers generally are intelligent enough to know if they're eating a vegan burger or a beef burger. But if EPP now want to be the language police, it's not a great look, and people will see through it, but I think they should spend a bit more time focusing on things that actually bring about positive change for farming communities and farmers' incomes. Our MEPs Thomas Waits and Anna Strollenberg will have a press briefing online on Monday on this, on farmers' incomes, and the file on amending the CAP at 4 o'clock on Monday. You're welcome to join that. Reach out if you would like. Lastly, we'll follow ECR's debate on cars very closely. I think it's sort of like, should we bring back horse-drawn carriages debate? I think we all know that the future is electric. The future of the car industry needs to be electric. We don't need that to go to China or the US. The mixed messaging we keep sending industry is confusing, and we want the jobs of the future, and we want industry to succeed in Europe. And it's another point that we need to take a lot more seriously. Last points are 5 of our MEPs, including the President Terry Ranke and Vice Presidents of the European Parliament, Nicu Stefanuta, will be supporting Hungarians tomorrow in the PEX Pride, which was banned by the Hungarian government. The reason why I say it is that potentially, if there's violence there, we hope there isn't, but we don't discount a debate, requesting a debate on Monday if that goes badly. I think there's lots of far-right counter-protests that have been sanctioned and a very heavy police presence expected. So we wish everyone a safe and happy Pride in Hungary, and we'll continue to support them wherever we can. Lastly, the rest of the priorities will be in your inbox this morning, but our presidential briefing has moved to 9 a.m. with Terry and Bass on Tuesday morning. You're all welcome, and we hope to see you there. Have a good weekend.
Thanks a lot, Simon. We have Tom for the left.
Thank you very much, Delphine. Good morning, everyone. So our group came back from Aarhus, or not Aarhus, my goodness, we came from Aalborg in Denmark this week, where we discussed the climate transition and putting workers at the center. So we have 3 priorities for this plenary. First, rule of law and democracy. So these past plenaries come to a head on this Tuesday vote. We've dealt with the rule of law report that showed Hungary failing on every criteria. Orban has tried to shut down freedoms of assembly, pride parades, has no use for judicial independence, comes after his political rivals, and oversees inhumane conditions in his prisons. No MEPs should be given over to the far-right rule of law flouting Viktor Orban. So this vote is a democratic test. It's time for the strong democratic recommendation of Parliament's Committee of Legal Affairs to be adopted. The report that says no to Orban's undermining of European values. And on the topic of European values, the second priority, Gaza. So the left, like the Greens, as we heard, has asked for a debate on the attack and arrest of aid workers and MEPs in international waters. So we've had on the flotilla, there's members of the S&D, members of the Greens, and we have left MEPs Rima Hassan and Emma Foreau, who have been arrested and detained illegally in international waters. It's a scandal, and they must immediately be released. So we hear that von der Leyen shares confusing, contradictory, or misleading information to the press. But honestly, it would be nice if she gave any information at this point, because aid workers and elected members are kidnapped, and now she seems to have taken an oath of silence. And there will be a debate on Tuesday where we talk peace in Gaza. Now, we recommend, or obviously we are very pleased to discuss peace in Gaza, as you can probably guess. But this is what we've got. On the one hand, we have von der Leyen welcoming Trump's plan to sideline Palestinians and have Tony Blair lead Gaza from his so-called Board of Peace. To defend her, Tony Blair has an excellent legacy concerning the Middle East, if you remember how flawless the Iraq War was. On the other hand, we have von der Leyen's solutions. Is there an arms embargo? No. Do we sanction the government perpetrating a genocide? No. Well, a couple of ministers. Do we suspend the trade agreement? Partially. But no, we remain the largest trading partner. Is anyone fooled by this? Well, let's find out in the third priority, the last priority. Saying no to this commission. We have a debate on Monday to censure Ursula von der Leyen's commission. The left has joined up with members of the non-attached, members of the Greens, and members of the Socialists and Democrats to censure von der Leyen for her far-right policies. Selling out working people and betraying S&D's entire platform. Selling out the climate, therefore betraying the entire Green platform. Cutting the budget for agriculture and farmers, driving the EPP to fight back. And the chair of the Renew Group in plenary called for an institutional Big Bang. Well, here's their shot. Mark your calendars for Thursday, where the actual vote to send von der Leyen home takes place. Some say von der Leyen is the best we can get, but they are giving up. They accept the status quo, a commission that sells out European workers through trade deals with Donald Trump. A commission that destroys all green legislation as our planet burns. A commission who is complicit in the genocide of the Palestinian people. So this plenary, the left group will say that this commission had its chance and failed. And no, it is not a game. It is serious. It's not trivial, the complicity in a genocide. We will fight for workers, the climate, and an end to genocide. We are not giving up. We will continue to oppose the far-right policies every turn, and we welcome the others. You'll hear from Manon Aubry, and you'll hear from Martin Sturtevant, our co-chairs, next Tuesday at 11:20 a.m. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. We have Vijay for ECN. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Delphine. Good morning, everyone. Today, I will present the key priorities that the ESN group will defend during the next plenary session. Of course, our members remain free in their votes. They always keep the right to defend the interests of their own country, and this freedom is at the very core of our association. But now, please let me briefly tell you how we approach this plenary, and I will do it in French. Au cours de cette session sera examinée la motion de censure déposée par le groupe des Patriotes. Notre appréciation est que la Commission a failli dans plusieurs domaines majeurs. Elle a présenté un budget pluriannuel hors de proportion et désormais hors de contrôle, sans jamais d'ailleurs envisager de retour à une gestion plus raisonnable. Elle a multiplié les accords commerciaux sans considération pour ses États membres et elle a échoué dans ses tentatives de négociation commerciale avec les États-Unis, où les agriculteurs européens ont été systématiquement sacrifiés dans les équilibres retenus. La Commission a par ailleurs mis en œuvre une politique énergétique qui a renchéri les factures des ménages et qui a affaibli la compétitivité des entreprises, ce que nous n'avons cessé de dénoncer. Elle a enfin refusé la transparence la plus élémentaire sur les contrats de vaccins qu'elle a conclus pendant la crise sanitaire, et ce, malgré les injonctions de la justice. Là aussi, les élus du groupe Europe des Nations Souveraines ont été parmi les premiers à le dénoncer. C'est sur la base de ces constats précis, budgétaires, commerciaux et institutionnels, que nous considérons que la responsabilité politique de cette commission doit être engagée. Concernant les questions agricoles, 2 textes seront présentés mercredi. Le premier est le règlement modifiant la politique agricole commune. Présenté comme un allègement, nous considérons que ce texte va dans le bon sens, même s'il conserve une architecture lourde et des conditions toujours très contraignantes pour les exploitants agricoles. Ce texte ne revient malheureusement pas sur les formulaires multiples, sur les indicateurs de performance ou encore sur les sanctions financières automatiques en cas de défaut, ce que nous regrettons. Le second texte est le règlement relatif au renforcement de la position des agriculteurs dans la chaîne d'approvisionnement alimentaire. Celui-ci introduit des obligations de transparence contractuelle, utiles, selon nous, pour corriger les abus des grands distributeurs, même si nous regrettons qu'il ajoute encore des obligations déclaratives pour les petites exploitations. Nous voterons donc ces textes, car nous assumons l'idée de défendre des agriculteurs, tout en dénonçant une logique où Bruxelles prétend simplifier, alors qu'elle continue d'alourdir. En matière économique et budgétaire, nous constatons que le budget rectificatif comporte des dépenses additionnelles. Il augmente les crédits de paiement et introduit de nouvelles ressources propres, qui ne sont en réalité rien d'autre que des impôts européens déguisés. Les États membres verront alors leur contribution s'accroître et perdront un peu plus de souveraineté fiscale. Les ménages et les entreprises, quant à eux, subiront indirectement une pression fiscale supplémentaire, ce que nous condamnons. Quant au texte sur l'accès fiscal aux plateformes numériques, il illustre la même dérive, puisqu'il obligera les plateformes à transmettre massivement les données numériques de leurs utilisateurs. Pour les citoyens, cela revient en réalité à mettre leurs revenus et leurs activités sous surveillance permanente. Bien évidemment, nous voterons contre ces textes, car nous considérons qu'ils incarnent une fuite en avant, normative et centralisatrice. En revanche, nous voterons pour un certain nombre de textes qui, bien que n'étant pas de grandes avancées législatives, comportent selon nous des améliorations. Je veux naturellement parler de la révision du mécanisme de suspension des visas, qui donnera aux États membres un outil concret pour réagir dès lors qu'un pays tiers abuse de l'exemption ou lorsqu'il refuse, par exemple, de récupérer ses ressortissants en situation irrégulière. Vous savez qu'il s'agit, pour le groupe Europe des Nations Souveraines, d'une priorité absolue. Je veux parler également des nouvelles règles sur les systèmes d'information fluviale qui modernisent selon nous la logistique des voies navigables et qui permettront une meilleure fluidité des échanges. Voilà des textes techniques, certes, mais que nous estimons proportionnés et utiles et que nous voterons. Enfin, un mot sur la déclaration en faveur, je cite, d'une société égalitaire en matière de genre. C'est l'exemple même de la surenchère idéologique. Le texte, en effet, ne se limite pas à promouvoir l'égalité entre les hommes et les femmes, que nous soutenons sans réserve. Il introduit un vocabulaire militant qui n'a pas de base juridique solide et qui impose aux États membres des constructions théoriques étrangères à leurs traditions et à leur choix de société. C'est ainsi que, sous prétexte d'égalité, on cherchera à imposer des concepts de genre dans l'éducation, dans l'entreprise, dans les administrations, alors même que les citoyens sont très largement hostiles à de tels bouleversements. Nous voterons donc contre ce texte, car il illustre jusqu'à la caricature les dérives idéologiques de l'Union européenne. En résumé, la position du groupe Europe des Nations Souveraines sera lisible et cohérente. Nous soutiendrons les agriculteurs, comme nous le faisons toujours. Nous refuserons les nouvelles charges budgétaires et fiscales. Nous voterons contre la surenchère idéologique et nous appuierons les textes techniques qui apportent des améliorations concrètes. En somme, notre ligne est claire. Soutenir ce qui sert concrètement les Européens, refuser ce qui complique inutilement leur vie ou réduit la souveraineté des États. Merci beaucoup de votre attention. Je serai très heureux de vous retrouver la semaine prochaine à Strasbourg et de répondre à vos questions pendant les 4 jours de la plénière. Merci.
Merci Vijay. On a des questions dans la salle. Vous pouvez vous présenter et à qui s'adresse votre question. On avait Max tout d'abord.
Hi, Max Guerrera for Politico. It's about the MFF, so it's not fully related to plenary, but hey, it's the budget, so it relates to everything in a way. It seems that a lot of groups really don't like the national plans, including EPP. I wanted to ask Daniel from EPP to confirm that the group will seek to have the Commission withdraw the national plans proposal from the MFF. And I wanted to ask S&D and Renew on your opinion on it, on whether you also want the Commission to withdraw these national plans. A second question to Vijay for ESN is whether you will vote also for the motion of the left. Last plenary, the Patriots, Bardella already said that despite ideological divides, they would support the left just because it's a shared objective. So will ESN also support it? Thank you.
We had the first question. Daniel, do you want to intervene? Yes, Daniel for EPP.
Yes, thank you, Max, for the question. It is true that in the EPP group, many are frustrated about this part of the MFF you just mentioned. For us, it is first of all a problem when it comes to the internal market, because we think that this would lead to a fragmentation of the agricultural markets inside the EU, and that's why. Yes, we have a problem with that proposal, but we did not yet take a final decision how we are going to address this problem. We are in talks, including directly with the European Commission on what to do, and I'm sure we will find a solution.
Yes, Uta?
Yes. Thank you, Max, for your question on the MFF. I think we have been very clear in our communication in the last weeks and month that we are against the nationalization of the MFF and, of course, also against the national plans. But we will speak again also on this topic in next week, so we can I can be in touch with you in more detail. Thanks.
There was a question also to you, Vincent.
Same for us. We shared our concerns also with the Commissioner, but the final discussion or the alternative from the group is not clear yet. So I'll get in touch with you and link up with our MEPs on this as well.
And Vijay, the second question was for you.
Merci beaucoup Max pour votre question. Nous sommes très heureux de pouvoir soutenir la motion des Patriotes. Nous aurions bien aimé pouvoir voter celle de la gauche. Elle est malheureusement rédigée de telle manière que notre président René Hoost a proposé pour le coup une abstention.
Other question in the room? Yes, we had Vincenzo and then you. Yes.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Vincenzo Genovese from Euronews. Actually, I have two questions for you, Delphine. The first one, is the Parliament itself has a position or a statement on what happened to the flotilla, given that 4 MEPs were involved? I get that I understood that some of them are already being released, but I wonder if you have a position. And the second one is that this week, some MEPs had a video call with the Duma representative from the Russian parliament. For what I understood, it was a private initiative. I would like to ask you if the parliament was aware and if it's possible, and if you have some comment on this. Thank you.
Thank you. You know that the Parliament has been closely monitoring the situation and was in contact with the relevant national authorities regarding the members that were part of the flotilla. The President has been in contact with those members, with the political groups, with their offices, and of course the protection of the well-being of the members anywhere in the world is always the utmost priority of the Parliament. Parliament insisted, and President has been insisting, that members are kept safe and treated with respect as elected representative of the people of Europe. And this is, of course, also the case in this situation. So contacts have been taken, and we know also from news now that several of them have already been released. So I can reassure you that the contacts are constant. And on your second question, you know that there are no official contacts with the Russian authorities within the Parliament, and that since 2014 the Parliament has no cooperation with the Duma. Members who engage with Russian diplomatic or governmental entities are acting in their sole personal capacity. The members have the freedom of the mandate in our rules of procedure. But of course, I can remind you also that in the existing rules, members have to declare their meetings with any representatives of a country or third country. So I can invite you to also look at the declarations of meeting with third country representatives of the members you are interested in. But the position of the Parliament is very clear. There's no official contact. I take a question from the room. There was the lila shirt, and then we will take you, Roland, from online.
Yes, thank you, Zoltán Bugnyár, Hír TV. And my question is to Daniel, EPP. What is EPP's take on the voting of lifting 2 members of immunity? One is a member of EPP, Péter Magyar, and the other one is not. Ilaria Salis, she's accused of serious crimes. Will EPP be partner of safeguarding her immunity?
Daniel, you want to reply to the question? I just want to highlight that for the question of the immunity of Mrs. Salis, there has been a request for a secret ballot that has been put forward that has reached the high threshold, so 1/5 of the members of this parliament. So this vote will be a secret ballot. Daniel, on the question received?
Yes. For the EPP, there's two cases, there's two different questions on the immunity of two different members, are completely different. So Mrs. Salis did commit violent acts prior to her mandate, and Peter Magyar is the leader of the Hungarian opposition. We are a couple of months now ahead of the general elections in Hungary, and that's why for us these two cases are totally different, and we will also act differently on these two cases.
I think, Tom, you wanted to have a short reaction?
I do, a short reaction, just that there are allegations against Ilaria Salis. I think that the report from the Committee on Legal Affairs was very clear that we should not be sending MEPs to Orban, and we will be defending Peter Magyar and Ilaria Salis.
Thank you. Now we have you, Roland Pape. You can press the speak button.
Thank you very much, Roland Pape with Népszava. I hope you can hear me and see. Well, I can see that you can see me. So I have a question regarding Page Pride, because you mentioned that one for Delphine specifically is Nicolae Stefanuța is going to Page, but I'm not sure if I understand correctly. Is he going there on behalf of the EP as EP vice president or as just an MEP? Was it discussed that he would go on behalf of the EP, as in the case of Budapest Pride, he went there on behalf of the EP? And for the other groups as well, the Greens mentioned, talked about Page Pride. The other groups, do you have anything in line? Do you have members maybe going there, or any kind of actions regarding that, or counter-protest against the Freedom of Assembly? I would be happy to hear from whichever group wants to talk about it. Thank you.
Do the groups want to react? I can say on our end that it has not been discussed in the Bureau this time. The position on the right of assembly is very clear from the Parliament. Mr. Stefanuța was representing the Parliament in Budapest, but in this case, I think it was more a communication from the SND group. Yes, that's the presence in the... No, so Greens, sorry. My mistake. So, you want to react, Sam?
I think Niku is more part of the Green delegation in this point.
Okay. And any other groups that want to react to that? Because Roland was addressing... No? Okay.
Maybe just to say that I think our position on the prides, and especially also we've been very vocal, like it was said today also around the Budapest Pride, is I think very clear. And therefore our position also on this, but I cannot confirm here whether or which members will be there. I'm happy to get in touch with you in separately, because I know that it is a priority for our group. So I'm happy to give you more details bilaterally. Thanks.
Thank you. And then we had a question in the middle. Yes.
Thank you, Gabriele Rosano, Il Messaggero Italy. Just a follow-up on the question on the waiver of immunity for Ilaria Salis to the EPP. Did I understand it correctly, so that the EPP's indication for the members is to vote to waive the immunity of Ms. Salis? And for the ECR, since the question to the ESN has been posed already, are you keen on voting for the motion of censure presented by the left, or how will you behave in the plenary on that? And very quickly, if I may, just for the Liberals, on the veggie burger ban, as that was mentioned by the Greens, what's your stance on it? Thanks.
Yes, so we start with Daniel.
Very short answer on the question on Madame Salis. The answer is yes.
Yes. Then we had a question for you, Stephen. Are you still connected? Yes. We can't hear you. Maybe you can just press the speak button. If not, we take already the third question. Yes, we have you. No.
Sorry, there I am.
Yes.
Yeah, this will be discussed properly in our group meeting next Tuesday with regard to the motion of censure that was mentioned. Looking at the content of it, I struggle to imagine that many of our members will support the left's motion of censure, but the nature of the group's approach to it will be discussed properly, as I say, next week.
And regarding your third question on the veggie burgers.
We have differing opinions on this kind of very detailed, very symbolic issues. I don't know at this moment what the eventual division will be, but I can check and let you know if you see me after this.
Okay. A final last question, Max?
Thank you. Two questions, actually. First of all, one for you, Delphine. What happened to the request to have a minute of silence for Charlie Kirk? I understand that's the president's decision, right? So has the president decided on whether there will be a minute of silence or not? Because I believe some of the groups here present asked for it. If it's a no, can I have a reaction from the groups that requested it? And then on the other hand, from the left and from the Patriots, I know that your objective is to topple the commission, so let's see what happens on Thursday. But in the event the commission is not toppled, will you request another motion in 3 months? Well, in 2 months, I think it is, when the threshold is 72 again. Will that be the strategy? That would be great to know. We're all dying to know. Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Max. On this question, there's no additional information. It's a request made, and of course it's taken into consideration and looking into by the President, but I cannot anticipate the opening of the session at the moment. And on the second question?
Yeah, hi, Max. At this stage, our priority remains our motion this month. So that's what can I say.
Thank you. Oh, yes. Tom.
Yes, sorry. So then I just wanted to say that, no, the plan is not to, the plan is to topple the commission. Max said it right. It is not the plan to actually create something where we're constantly bringing this up over and over and over again. I think it's just very clear that the time is up now. Thank you.
Okay. Just a last mention for journalists. There will also be on Tuesday at 3 p.m. a press conference on Lux Film Award, where the announcement of the 5 films that are shortlisted for the 2026 award will be presented. And 2 committees that are interesting, both Environment Committee discussing the position for the COP30 on Monday, and ECB Chair Lagarde will also be in Econ on Monday evening for the monetary dialogue. Thanks a lot. Have a good weekend.